So what I have here is the brand new 70-200 f4G lens from Sony, and it actually surprised me because of one particular feature. So hi everyone, this is Jiggy, a portrait and wedding photographer from the Philippines, and welcome to the channel. So before anything else, if you guys haven't subscribed to the channel and would want to learn more about off-camera flash photography, or maybe just photography in general, then this channel is for you. So you might want to consider subscribing, and while you're at it, click that notification bell so that you get notified every time I upload a new video. And if you want to see some of my images, you could always find me on Instagram. It's at Jiggy Alejandrino. Now, the 70-200 lens lineup has always been one of my go-to lenses for portraiture, especially for wedding photography, because it gives me the flexibility of having that medium zoom to telephoto zoom, which I can also use during the bridal march or during the church ceremony where I want to take candidates, and it also helps especially during the reception. However, one particular thing that really bothered me when it comes to 70-200 lenses was the fact that I had to use a relatively big space in order for me to use it properly because the minimum focusing distance wasn't that great. However, this particular lens, this brand new 70-200 f4G lens from Sony, is actually a macro lens. So aside from the fact, yes, you heard me right, it's a macro lens, but let me talk about first the improvements that they made with this particular lens before I get to that particular feature that really impressed me a lot. Well, since this particular lens is a brand new iteration of the original f4 lens, it now basically has all the new stuff that you could find from any G lens now from Sony. In other words, you've got really good focusing speed, amazing sharpness, amazing colors, which is basically what you can really expect from any Sony lens. Now, this one also has in-body stabilization, just like the first version. However, one of the bigger advantages of using native Sony lenses will work wonders when it comes to image stabilization. Now, what is the big advantage of this one now compared to the older version? Well, number one, it's smaller and lighter. So you guys might be wondering how big this particular lens is. Well, let's measure it so that you get a realistic point of view on how big it really is. The length with the rear cap and the front cap is about 7 inches, but technically the lens is only about 6 inches. The width is 3 inches. It's got a 72 mm filter thread. The barrel does extend when you zoom in and out, but that's not really a deal breaker. But it is very light. Let's bring out our trusty weighing scale. And this one comes in, let's say without the caps, at 859.6 grams with the tripod collar. But if we remove the tripod collar, it only weighs 792.6 grams, which is very light. And as I said earlier, this is a macro lens. Now, as a macro lens, it's not a full 1:1 magnification. It's actually just 0.5. But to be honest, since I am not shooting insects, or I don't really do macro too much, the close focusing is perfect. So if I want to get really close to my subject, let's say I want to do a really tight portrait, I'm no longer hindered by my close focusing distance of this particular lens. Now, you guys might be asking, say, it's an f4, so you're not really going to get that nice bokeh. But you still will, because this one comes with a 9-blade aperture, so you're still going to get creamy bokeh. And you have to remember, bokeh is not just dependent on your aperture, it is also dependent on your focal length and your foreground to background distance. Now, since this is a macro lens, or this has a macro feature, you could go in really close to your subject and zoom in, and you're just going to blur out the background. Now, another thing that's new to this lens, it is now finally compatible with the teleconverters, the 1.4 and the 2.0 teleconverter. So I have here the F2, the 2.0 the 2x teleconverter, I'm sorry. And once I put this one to this particular lens, this one becomes an f8 lens, which is perfect for all those that want to do birding or who just want that additional reach and still manage to shoot properly at f8, which normally a lot of birders do. But another advantage too, whenever you're using this teleconverter, is that all of a sudden from a 0.5 magnification, this one becomes a 1:1 magnification. So it becomes a true macro lens. So let's put it to the test and see how close we can actually get. Let me show you this behind the scenes photo now that I took when I was shooting a wedding. And as I said earlier, this one became really perfect because now I can use it for my details. You could see how close I am to the details that I'm shooting, and it had no problems focusing. And look at the bokeh I am getting even at f4. Now, as a portrait lens, this is also perfect. I have some behind the scenes photos also to show you. I had a chance to shoot a wedding with this. And look how creamy the bokeh is. Look how sharp it is. Look how beautiful the colors are. And you can't really expect anything less from these Sony G lenses. And that's why I really love using native Sony lenses because, as I said earlier, the image stabilization of this one works perfectly with the in-body stabilization of the newer Sony cameras. Plus, the color rendition is just absolutely spot on for the sensor of Sony. So this, again, is a new 70-200 f4G lens. Now, I don't want to get into too much detail on all the things that they put in here, but trust me, it actually looks good, it feels good, it weighs really light, and the images are crisp and sharp as what you've seen in the sample photos that I showed you. Okay, so if you guys have any questions with regards to this video, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. So I do hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you did, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and click that notification bell. Okay, till the next video.